simplicity. What are boundaries? Yes, sir.
So to me, boundaries are just set of, you can call them guardrails, whether physical, psychological. So there are a set of guardrails. I use guardrails, and the sole purpose is to either keep something in. So basically, it prevents something from the outside from coming in, or it prevents something from the inside
From going out.
from going out.
Okay.
And the only way things can travel through those boundaries are through some kind of agreements, right? Within the set of rules or by the people that put those guardrails in place.
Thank you for that. Can I have Yinka give us your opinion about boundaries?
Yeah, so I think I echo what Akin just said, right? There are guardrails, right? Guardrails through which you and your significant other agree on what goes out and what stays in, and what also comes in from the outside. Again, as an extension of your family, here are things that we want internally that doesn't go out there. Here are things that are external, and we leave it external that way. And here's how we'll manage, everything within the space of our family.
Okay, great. So, are you agreeing with them, or do you
Yeah,
have
basically, I
something
think
contrary?
it's just no. It's the parameters you put in place to govern your life or your in this case, since we are talking about the in-laws, your relationship. It's the basically what you just
you're
said.
agreeing with them.
Yeah.
You're just adding drama.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Thank you. How about you, Justice?
No, pretty much, if I was to, I don't want to digress, but yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with what you're saying.
Okay, great. So we start with Justice, and we're going to continue with Justice. Okay, so Justice, I want to assume and believe that you're a brother-in-law. Okay, so what's your take on your? Okay, let's assume that your sister-in-law, reports you to your brother-in-law that whenever he comes to our house, he just goes to the kitchen like you do. He just goes to the kitchen and pack food, and I'm not okay with that. What do you think? Do you think she has a right to do that as a brother-in-law?
Yeah, pretty much she does. First of all, I don't live there. I'm not part of. Yeah, I'm part of the family in some type of way. Although us, Igbos, we have some type of, we perceive some type of urge to think that because it's my brother's wife, I can run over her because she's my brother's wife.
You have the entitlement.
We have the entitlement for that.
Okay.
But pretty much, if I go to the kitchen and take food and she doesn't like it, if she reports me to my brother, I think my brother has the right to tell me, hey man, don't do that, don't come here and do that, which is gonna take it. It's gonna take his trouble because when I go see food, I go enter kitchen. But I mean, it's just
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you, sir, because I want to put you on the spot again. Now, would you ever feel as if you crossed a line by opening the pot in your brother's house?
100% that I'll do it, but 100% is.
You will still do it, even though you know you're crossing the line.
Why would you still do it?
That one is food. If any other thing I can't do, but you know how. I mean, to be honest, though, but yeah, but let's say for the sake of the show, not no clown stuff. You don't have the right to do that. You are not supposed to do that spirit.
You're not supposed to do
Yeah,
that.
you're not supposed to.
But what about brother-in-laws like you that are still saying, even though I'm not supposed to do it, but I think I have the right to.
We are home breakers. We are bad brother-in-laws who feel entitled.
Okay, I think I would like to say that it varies, right? Some women will have an issue with you doing that, and some won't.
No, but she's saying in the case of the ones that don't like you.
It doesn't. Okay.
But to be honest,
she's expressing herself.
Yeah, but
to her husband, not to him.
But let me put it out there. All my brothers, all the wives, they love me. If I go there, I mean, they have never told me they don't like that. But they know my whole problem is just food. So 9 times out of 10, before I get there, food is already, ready for me to come and take over.
Okay, I want to flip it.
The reality is if opening pot, I'm not digressing. If opening pot is the only issue that your brother is having with his wife, then their marriage is.
No, I even want to now flip it. Like if that your sister-in-law did not tell your brother and now come straight to you to tell you, do you think she's overstepping her boundary?
No, she's not. She's not.
Okay.
She has the right.
She has the right to
Definitely.
Come to you and not your brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she has the right.
She has
Yeah.
all the right.
I even prefer that one.
Which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Okay,
But then it
so,
depends on the relationship they have.
okay, so I'm going to throw this to everyone. So let me know if you're going to answer me, if you're ready to respond to that, because we're all not going to be going on, each question. So, can your in-laws live with you? Now, not in-laws, let me be specific. Can your sister-in-law live with you or your brother-in-law live with you? Be honest.
I mean, leave. They can spend a night.
Live with you,
No.
not
come to
visit.
visit.
No,
Not visits. Can they live with you?
no,
Sorry?
no.
No. Right.
I mean,
No.
So the thing is, like, I still want to believe that I'm still young in marriage. So that's number one. Number two, the chaos of America, it already prevents partners, so husband and wife, spending that time together, because your Mondays, through Fridays are really chaotic. So the little time, downtime that I would like to have with my wife, I'm not competing with anybody for that time. So that, and knowing if somebody else is in the house, obviously it's going to be divided attention, shared attention, and things like that. So for the sake of my marriage and to continue to build strength in my marriage, I'll say no to that.
Awesome. So you guys, can you give your opinion on that, please?
Yeah, so my answer is no. Except in an instance where, there's an issue or something where I know they need help. And if I can, I will get them a place to stay in and, work with them sort of with a timetable and say, hey, by this, I need you to be out of the house. But, my short and long-term answer is no. To Akin's point, it's hard enough that, every one of us, we're in and out of our house. Our houses are like hotels to us, right? We come in, we don't even have time to even just decompress. You get in, next day you're out again. You're, throwing the kids right into the school bus or trying to get them to school. And then you're trying to get to work, even with people working from home, it's just not, the answer is no.
I get what you're saying. Like, it's already hard dealing with your family by yourself. Then
Yep.
now adding another person to it, and
Well,
dealing with that.
I
So
have something to say, to be fair, right?
yeah.
So I think I had this conversation with Brother King, and one of my friends had this same issue where, he was living with the mother-in-law or something, and they got, So for nine times out of 10, I feel like, at first I was thinking it's gonna be a no for me, but I'm beginning to consider it to be yes, because it depends on the type of relationship
The
and the type of
synergy.
person.
The
Yeah,
person
the kind of
you're
person
dealing
you're dealing
with, it's
with,
a lot.
and
It depends,
it's
yeah.
a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm trying to,
Okay.
because let's say let's say how many men will let's say if your wife really wants you or wants the mom to stay with her, how do you deal with that as a man? Do you tell the wife no and tell the mom no, and then the wife say, okay, if my mom can't live here, then I don't know if I'll be able to.
Yeah, which is why I think
It's complicated.
agreeing is very important.
The topic
Now,
is boundaries, right?
Yeah, no, agreeing is actually
Yeah.
very important. I think if the wife wants it and you as the husband don't want it, then there is an issue, right? Now you have to come to an understanding between the both of you.
Mhm.
I was watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta. There was this girl, Sharon. Now she bought a big house. She likes family being around. And so she moved her mother from Jamaica, her mother and her father, into that house. She moved her sister and her husband into that house. And then she moved her own brother-in-law into that house.
Okay.
That is how she functions. Well, the husband too likes it.
Hey, that's
So
fine.
that's between both of them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's
What
yeah,
I'm saying,
an agreement.
that's why I said
An
agreement
agreement, yeah.
comes in. But in the case where one wants it
And
and
one
the
doesn't
other
want it.
doesn't want it, then that's where we know the boundaries is not defined. That's where we know there is an issue. Do you understand? We all are not going to agree on this. Some people will be like, Aaron, no, it's just me and you, me and my husband. Some people are like that. But some people, my elder
Situations where
sister,
you have to, right?
my eldest sister actually doesn't like her house not having someone in her house. She can't. She doesn't like it.
Not having extra.
Not. I'm not talking about her. She
I
wants
applaud-
people in her house.
I applaud the people that can do it.
Yeah.
Just for me,
Oh yes.
I can't do
Everybody.
it.
Okay, so from Odun's point, okay,
and it's not even just in laws.
yeah.
Like anybody.
I get you.
I understand.
we
we
need
are
to
all
have a
different.
start
We are
date
all
and
different,
end date.
and
Once we
as-
can establish start and end dates, then we can move forward.
Okay,
But
I like that point.
indefinitely.
I like that point. Establishing the start. Okay, so my question from Odun's point is: at what point or when do we set boundaries in marriages? Like, okay, is it when you are like 2 years into your marriage, or at the start of your marriage? When do you set boundaries as couples? Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, I don't think you can. Obviously, there are certain things you talk through, while you're dating and you're getting to know each other. Like, that's why you identified the yes and then the no-nos. And then hopefully, as you're getting to know personalities and things like that, you keep boundaries are ever evolving.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's not something you set
Yeah.
one time
Yeah.
and then you're done.
Yeah.
Throughout your marriage,
there are some
I
you
think-
set, you establish this, like, okay, this is, okay, let me set an example. Oh, we are newlyweds. So, this is what we want. We don't want, I don't want my mother-in-law to be involved in raising our kids. So do you agree with me? We agree on that. And maybe 2 years into marriage, mother-in-law comes to stay with us, and she's like, oh, this is not how you raise your child, and we start having issues. Then I report. Let's stay with you. No, because situations happen. Like this will happen. Like, mama will have to come. Mama has to stay with us because she has to. She's coming to America for her to see the doctor.
My mother's mom lived with us till she died. So again, it's not like I can relate to those things. I can relate.
So
I saw the
are your
relationship, I saw the
responses from
interaction.
experience or?
No, I love my grandma to
Okay.
death. So it's not about from experience. It's about knowing me, know what I can take,
Yeah.
and also knowing the person that I'm married
That
to.
you're dealing with.
So like there's certain conversations that need to be had. There are certain conversations that cannot wait till tomorrow. There are certain conversations that cannot wait until the house is empty. And unfortunately, sometimes when you have people staying with you, those conversations are never had, and sometimes it can affect your marriage and your relationship. So again, I think it's just knowing my situation. It has nothing to do with
which is
with
that's
experience.
respectable.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
understandable. Like I said,
knowing my
it's a personal
situation.
thing.
Now, if there's
Like-
a situation where there's
okay,
a
hold on.
health issue,
Not even health
Then
issue.
take
I'm
that
going to use myself
conversation.
as an example. Okay, life happens at times. The trajectory, your life trajectory gets changed all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
The way you planned it was not the way it was turning out.
Oh, yeah.
And then life happens. But then you need to do some things, even though you've told yourself then I'm never going to do this. Do you understand? But then life happens to you. So what do you do?
I'm not saying I'm not open to the
Yeah,
idea.
being
Yeah.
flexible.
In a perfect world, it's no. In a not so
In a
perfect
perfect world, it would be no for everybody.
Yeah,
When
in
I
a-
was
in a-
growing up, my mom used to call me and my husband.
Yeah.
She's always like, I'm so scared of you because you are going to ignore
You won't let
family.
me into your house.
Yeah, exactly. But the older I get, I found out that it doesn't, I would like family around me. I enjoy people being around
Yeah,
me.
to
Oh, I love people around
Yeah,
me.
so-
It's 9 o'clock.
to be honest,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest.
I think
Yinka?
Nika has something to say.
Yeah, so I mean, whether in the perfect or not so perfect world, right? The answer is no. Now there are instances where they might have to stay with you. In some, and let's be practical a little bit here.
Yeah.
You have a baby, right? You're trying to, you can't find a daycare, or daycare is too expensive for you. I get that. They come, right? But even with that, right, there's still boundaries set. Right, there's certain things that you would not accept from either side of the aisle, whether it's your mother-in-law or your father-in-law or other side as well. So there are those boundaries. There is, hey, maybe my sister, something is, they are trying to get themselves financially stable, and then you agree with your spouse that, hey, they can come and stay with us. We have enough space for a certain while, but there has to be guardrails, right? You got to be here a couple of months or whatever. and move. Now we know doesn't always happen. Sometimes they extend. We hear of people like, hey, we're married, but we can't afford a house. We're gonna go stay with our parents for a little bit, right? And all. So there are those instances there, right? But in general, the answer is no.
In
Yeah,
an
the
ideal
answer is
world,
no. I asked the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I actually asked the question. Sorry. When do you set basic boundaries in your marriage?
You set basic boundaries obviously before you get married. You set basic boundaries while you're having conversations. Now that doesn't mean everything you set before you get married is set on stone. Again, as life happens, I believe things it's like how you update your computer software, right?
Akin, can we take an example? What would be a basic boundary that you set before you get married?
So to me, okay, so one for us was I think before we got married, my wife and I already knew, like, okay, when I'm pregnant, I want her now. Like, she wants her mom to be present for the recovery, really for her recovery, more so for her recovery than the baby. Also, to help with the kids. Okay, fine. No problem. Like, it wasn't just thrown on me 9 months pregnant. Oh, by the way, when baby comes, mama is coming, so to me that's an example. And I'm just sticking to boundaries with in-laws,
Yeah.
so and then also I feel there are certain boundaries, as discussed earlier, there are certain boundaries that even it's just common sense, right? Again, marriage is between two people. Unfortunately, right, unfortunately, I know I say common sense, and I use the term loosely, that you should know, okay, if we have issues within the house, it should stay within us. Let's resolve it. Talk positively about your significant other to your folks. You don't speak negatively about your significant other to your folks. Like, to me, those are common sense boundaries, really. But again, I use the term loosely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have something to say, to be fair. Like, yeah, in an ideal world, it's supposed to be marriage, supposed to be anyway for two people, because even the Bible says that leave your parents and two become one. So, but if we're talking, I feel like this particular point, it depends on the person, because see, I used to feel like, and this was like some few months ago. I used to feel like if I get married right now, like I don't want anybody.
Yeah, I think you've said it on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You said
I'm
it
saying, like
several
I
times.
wouldn't want anybody, but
I want advice for anybody to be around in your early years of marriage.
but from reading books, and I'm beginning to have I'm beginning to feel like it depends on the person, because sincerely, if you know me, I like people. First of all, I like kids. So I can want to bring extra kids to my house. Like, bringing extra kids to my house is like bringing extra people. So I feel like it depends on the person. It depends on, like,
It's
and
personal.
it depends on the person, and it
Yeah.
depends on life
Personal.
situation. So
Yeah.
a lot of things come, like, so
Yeah.
because I feel like if you start putting static boundaries into your relationship, and then when it don't favor you, you want to bring people in. I don't
And
think
when it
that's
favors
gonna work.
you,
When
you
it
But,
don't
favors
but,
you,
that's,
don't
but that's
work.
the thing, though, right? The boundaries are supposed to be set by
Just-
both, and even sometimes when you don't agree, it's like me saying no. I don't want my in-laws in my house. It's not that I have anything against my in-laws. It's for the protection of my marriage.
Oh, you know yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
You
because I
understand
know
it. Like
myself,
you just
I
said,
know
it
the
depends
things
on
that
you know yourself. You know what you
that I
can. Yeah.
react to,
Yeah,
things like
and
that. So-
I think with the way we are, okay, let's assume that our in-laws are being overbearing, they are being controlling, and some of us are like, okay, we die in silence,
Wait.
keeping it to ourselves.
Overbearing and controlling to who? To their own kid or?
No, your in-laws. They are, I mean in-laws.
Okay.
So that means to maybe the wife, the brother-in-law. I mean,
No,
The
just-
daughter-in-law.
yes,
the
because
son-in-law.
when I say in-laws, that means not your father, because you are saying to their own child.
I'm just trying to understand why my mom will come to my house and be.
No, it happens. In-laws can be
Oh.
overbearing. In-laws can be controlling.
Plenty.
In-laws can be overbearing. They can
Very,
be controlling.
very
They can be too
controlling.
much.
I'm cut
They
from-
can be
I'm
extra.
cut
And that,
from
the
for you.
controlling
So
can
now-
actually be for you, the child, and it's affecting the wife.
The wife.
I'm cut from a different
So-
cloth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What was I trying to say? Okay. So some of us die in silence. Like, at your own, at the detriment of your happiness.
Mental health, yeah.
Yes, of your sanity. So you're like, oh, I want to satisfy them. I don't want to speak out. I don't want to speak out. But at some point, you're going to burst. And you're like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? How are they doing? So I feel like boundaries, like I said earlier, they're keys to successful relationship. I don't want to say marriage now. So boundaries are meant to guide us. So because you were saying, oh, you feel like we shouldn't, it sounded like we shouldn't have certain boundaries for certain things.
I mean,
I think it's just being cautious that what happens when the boundary doesn't favor you.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to. That's
Yeah.
the thing, because like it's easy to say, oh, we've set this boundary, and you feel like, because some of the time too, let's be very honest, when you set boundaries, right? Especially men, we're gonna be the one to most upset most of the boundaries, because most of the boundaries you are not just setting the boundaries, you are actually sometimes it favors you more, because you feel like, because for the most part, if I get married right now, I don't know for other people, but I think like I'll be more vocal to tell my wife like, hey, I don't want anybody to. I think it's a man thing. So like,
I don't want anybody to come in. I think if you take 10 men, on like
that's what I'm saying.
8
I'm
will
not
say
saying
no.
I'm not saying anybody.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I get
eight
you.
with, yeah,
Eight
you know what I'm
will say
saying.
no,
So
yeah.
things like
But-
that. But now when
yeah.
you don't favor you, you start trying to bend
that's
the rules.
Yeah, my
That's
mother
not-
has to
that's
come.
not-
It's my mother.
that's
You
not-
demand
that's-
now what your mother to
Yeah,
come. You're not like my mother has
and then
to
you-
come.
you-
I'm the man of the house.
you know
So
what I'm
that's not
saying?
Yeah.
boundary
So
then.
Yeah.
That's not boundary. The
So-
boundary is set to protect your relationship, not you, not your ego. So basically is
Yeah, so I think we should look at it from not from a personal perspective.
Relationship.
Yes, that's why it has to be mutual.
Yeah.
Like there has to be an agreement, because I don't think we can talk about boundaries in marriage without mentioning the word agreement.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
people have to
Like,
agree.
what I understand is saying,
Yeah.
I understand what it's because it's things
Oh,
we've seen.
I understand what it's saying.
Like they
I
will
understand what
agree
it's
and
saying.
say no, you are not bringing an in-law.
then when
Nobody.
it's time-
But then your mother call you the husband. Mama is sick. You need to bring mama, and then you that go is my mother. He needs to come.
Because
Forgetting you've already denied your wife.
Because let's be
You
real.
agreed not
If
to.
we are saying it for the benefit of the viewers, we
Yeah.
have to be real about
Yeah.
certain situations. So,
Of course.
Mhm.
And
We
just,
can-
just note, viewers, these are opinions. These
yeah,
are
these
only
are
things.
opinions.
disclaimer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
imposing on
Yeah.
anybody. So
Yeah.
9 times
Yeah.
out of 10, let's say I get married to a woman right now and I be like, no in-law. If my mom is sick, my mom is coming.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. You feel me? So that's how it
But
works.
also but hang on though. But that's also different, right? So let me give you an example. And this is
Yep.
random. This is not a true story. I'm just making this up. So imagine my wife's mom is throwing a birthday party, and it's like, okay, well, at any family, bring $5,000, and I said, $5,000? No, we're not bringing $5,000. Fast forward 2 years later, my mom is sick, and she needs $5,000. Is it the same scenario?
No, it's not.
But it's easy to get stuck on $5,000.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's where it's about the protection of the relationship, right? And I think that's where we have to be realistic. Now, if my wife wants to throw a fit, she'll stick to 5,000. She doesn't care what the $5,000 is being
Yeah,
used
because
for.
that's our agreement.
But the use of the money is different,
But that's what I'm saying.
and that's where we have to be flexible.
Okay,
Okay,
now,
okay,
I
okay,
can now,
okay,
let me now,
okay.
let's now
Let me get it.
hold on, Justice.
Okay.
If it was now the other way round,
Mm-hmm.
like it's your mother, it was your own mother that wanted a birthday, a party, and demanded for $5,000,
Mm-hmm.
And the mother-in-law is sick.
and you and your wife said no, and then your mother-in-law is the one that now sick and not demanded the $5,000. Would you still feel the same?
I think I'm matured enough now to drop the $5,000.
Okay,
now,
okay.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't like that. Let's like,
Oh,
Okay.
I'm petty. Oh.
So no, let's be realistic with it. About it.
Let's be realistic still. Even with what you said, right? Even people older than you will not still understand that. So it's not about age, it's about the person. That's what I'm saying. So
So
because
my
Yeah.
maturity has nothing to do with age.
That's what
It's
I'm
just more of
okay.
evolution.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just trying to tell you. Like
Yeah.
how you think that birthday wasn't important, it might be very important to
Yes,
you.
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't say it's not important.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
The use
There's
is
situation.
different.
both scenarios.
Right.
The commonality in the scenario is 5,000. The scenarios are actually
Yep.
completely different.
But
That's
the
what I'm
commonality
saying.
that you are
Okay,
seeing as
so-
5,000, it might not actually be the 5,000 that your spouse is looking at. It might not be the 5,000 It might just be the relationship of this is my mother.
That's what I'm trying to.
Let's hear
That's
from
what I'm
Ika.
trying
Let's
to.
hear
Yeah,
his
I
view.
agree.
He has some shit.
No. Yeah, no. So I get what Atkins is saying, right? And Justice, it's not necessarily about the money. And to what Odu said, might be the thought behind it, right?
Yeah.
Is my mom, and let's try to help where we can. If even we can't give the five,
The five
maybe
things,
here's
yeah.
two
What can we
towards
do?
that,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, and that you have to assess that before you make kind of a final call on hey, we're not doing this, and just pivot over to something else.
Okay.
On
thank
that,
you.
that's my thought on it.
Thank you for that. And I'm gonna lead us to another question, which is about nurturing our kids and the in-laws. When I say in-laws now, I'm involving brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, the parents-in-laws. So, how would you would you allow your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law to, of course, they can correct your kids.
We can correct my
They
child.
can correct your child.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what if your wife is against your in-law? No, is it your in-law now?
My siblings
Your siblings, yeah,
correcting.
correcting or yeah,
Your
correcting
children.
your
It
children.
takes a village to raise a child.
That's your.
Yeah, but Sister Shola,
That's
I'm understanding the point you're trying to bring out. So the point you're trying to
I'm
bring
not talking
out.
about spanking. I just talking
Yeah,
about
you have some. You are
Don't do
you are
that,
trying to talk
smash
about
it by.
in-laws who overstep their boundaries by like really just brutalizing. I call it. I wish it.
I don't even think it's brutalizing.
I use the word brutalizing.
I don't think so.
Spanking, right?
I think
Like
it's
talking about
spanking or correcting the child or just like getting
So,
to the
In an
child.
excessive.
So like, are you asking something as simple as, hey, the brother-in-law says, hey, Tola, don't do that again. If you do that again, you're going to be in trouble. Something as simple as that.
I think that's basic. No, that's basic.
Yeah.
Something in okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the excessive.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
like-
okay, you and your husband
Okay.
or your wife, you have this boundary of okay,
I don't beat kids.
nobody touches my child. You can't just like don't do that again. You don't just spanking the child just a little. So, is this something you would allow to have your in-laws like
Is that
spank your
overstepping?
kids? Is that are they overstepping their boundaries?
So quick answer to that is, if they're not aware, if I haven't told them that we don't spank our kids and this is how we've chosen to correct them, then we need to have that conversation. I need to make them aware that look, we're not acceptive of this. This is how we're going to have to do it.
I like what-
Now there might be friction about that.
I like you are being diplomatic. No, don't touch my child.
I like the way he actually.
No, but Akin, you have to again. It's all in context, right? If they're not aware of how you want to raise your child.
I understand that, but it's also my child, right? And I want to trust my child. Like, what will make you put your hands on my
100%.
child so quick?
Okay, so now, sorry. So this is why we set boundaries. So how do we set that boundary with our in-laws? Like that's why I said I like the way he actually said he actually puts it that okay, maybe they didn't know.
Common sense.
No, common
No,
sense.
no, no,
That's
no,
boundary.
no.
Boundary is when you draw the line,
No.
when you tell them, okay, this is what is
Okay, like
expected
I see
in
me,
my
I
home.
actually
This is
like
our
I like keeping
values.
it very real.
This is
all
our
right?
values.
So there was a
Yeah.
time when I was in Nigeria, I was living with my sister, right? My sister has 2 kids. When they misbehave, I spank them. When they misbehave to their mother calls me and reports them to me. She doesn't spank them, but I spank them. Yes, I spank them. And then when they now misbehave to her, she herself now calls me and now reports them to me. And then I now became the yardstick. I'm going to tell Auntie Odu. For them not to do some certain things. Now, even though she doesn't spank them, she was not the kind of a person, you cannot touch my children. I know some people are like that. I know some people are like that. But for some people, the boundaries will not be. I don't even think growing up, there was nobody that set any boundary of anybody beating any child.
Yes.
I-
And
I-
that's
my
where
thing
he
is,
said common sense.
I've not
to some of
I've
these
not
things.
been around anybody long enough to where they feel like they can put their hands on me. And same thing with my kids. I've not put my kids outside of school, like boarding school. Yeah, I got my butt whooped in boarding school. And same thing now with my kids. I don't think I've put my kids anywhere long enough to where anybody feels they can put their hands on my
That's
kids.
you.
And I have something.
and that's why I'm
that's
speaking
you
from
because
that
it might
perspective.
have. You know what? I think it takes a scenario to, or if it happens. Let me say, if it happens that okay, maybe the first time I put my hands on Zion, and you're like, Sashala, don't try that again. That's the boundary.
you
That's
get it
you.
now.
Now I
like
get it. That okay. I
um,
can't put my hand on Akin's kids.
I'm reasonable
Do you
because
get?
I'll first
So
ask
that's
you
boundary.
what she did.
That's why I am still
Okay,
going to
but
go
I
back
think
to his
you're
point.
quick to
We
say
need
it
to
takes
let
a
them
village.
know.
Are you saying it takes a village
Exactly.
selective? Is that
No,
what
but
you're
it takes a
saying?
village is not
It's
selective.
selective.
It's not selective, and that's why I say like if you spank Zion, like the first time I'm gonna tell you is not like don't spank.
Yeah,
Zion.
we spank Zion.
I
If you
need
spank
to know-
Zion, if I
I need
spank
to know
Zion and
what-
you change your face,
I
it's
need
your
to know
problem.
what Zion did.
No, that's
I'm
No,
just
no, no.
joking,
I
I'm
need to know.
just
I need to know
joking.
what Zion did, and if it's justifiable, guess what? Hey, you should have behaved yourself.
okay. So
Now, if
I
it's
still need us
Yeah.
to go.
unreasonable,
Yeah, I still
then
need us
it's
to
a-
go
it's a
back to this
different
boundary
conversation.
because I think we're just talking about the actions. We're not talking about me knowing your expectations when it comes to me coming to your house. If I come to your house, I need to know what is expected. I need to know your values in your home. I need to know how to relate with your kids.
You-
That's
I
boundary.
just think-
So how do we put these boundaries into
You write
place?
it and put it on the door.
The
No
thing is,
spanking.
No.
that's why I
I will
keep saying
let
common
I
sense.
will let
That's why I
Mr.
keep
Go-
saying- that's why I keep
No,
saying
let me-
common
let
sense.
me- let me- you can one minute. Let me get on this
No.
topic, right? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
when we say these things, I know we're on TV, so we're just trying to bring out our own opinions and stuff. But you can have the policy of not spanking your kids, but there are things where your kids can do, or there are things where let me take myself for example. There's somebody in church who once told me, I don't like my kids get touched by anybody. So one day
Now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
that.
I know he doesn't like that. But one day I was getting into church and the guy was actually slapped. And if I call the guy's name, you guys will know who I'm talking about. He was actually slapping the other female child. And
Somebody
I had to-
else's child.
Yeah, and I had to put my hands on him heavily.
Okay.
And the father did not say
Oh,
anything.
that's double standard. You don't want them touching your
But
own
you
child,
based
but
on
you
it.
don't touch someone else's child.
No.
Yeah, so you want to deal with your own child yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the kid was beating
Another
somebody
child.
else, another child. So I had to discipline him. I had to put my hands
Okay.
on him severely. And I didn't do that. I
And
didn't
you
care
knew
what.
that his dad
Yeah,
really
and the
wants to
dad
put your
already
hands
told
on
me that I
him.
didn't care what that was going to happen. But I actually did that because at that situation, that's what I was supposed to do. Because I saw it right in my car, so I actually was running. I didn't even turn off my car. I actually was rushing to see what was going on. So things like that can happen. In as much as you don't want.
I'm just trying to understand.
Okay,
like,
again,
what
one
somebody's
of the
child
things I
will
was
do to me
thinking
that I
of
put my
is
hands
the
on.
kind of people you surround yourself
Yeah.
with. You should be able to trust. Like you should trust that this person is not going to spank Zion for just any reason.
Exactly.
So it depends on the kind of people you surround yourself with. So when you're saying it takes a village, who are my village?
That's what I mean by that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but okay, hold on. Let me paint the picture for you, right? We
we got a problem.
Yeah, so let's come back to family or to close people around us, right? We grew up, most of our life was about spanking, right? We didn't even know, sometimes we didn't know what we did,
Yeah.
right? And then you now grew, you're now grown an adult, you have your own, but you never related that message to your parents. Yeah, and your parents now, they are taking care of your kids and they spank your kid. If you haven't set those boundaries with them, there's no way they would know that this is not what we're going to do, regardless of how they feel about it.
I think our parents know American.
You have to establish that.
Let's not assume. Let's not
Let's
assume. Like you said,
No.
they need to know. I need to know. Your
It's-
brother-in-law
so the
needs
reality
to know.
is, it's not my responsibility, in my own opinion,
Yeah.
to set that boundary. It's my wife's responsibility. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's my wife's responsibility to set the boundary in our
With
house.
our own family,
with
and
our
then you
home.
set your
And
own
I set
with your
mine
own.
with my own to let them know
Oh,
that
okay.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Like
From
I'm
that
not gonna call it a
perspective.
family
Yeah.
meeting and say this is how we're raising our kids, It's so that's the way
Yep.
I see it, But then again, I'm still like in my existence, I've never put my hands on somebody else's child.
Okay,
Because I'm
and
trying
if
to
your
understand-
sister comes around and spank one of your child, your sister,
I'm just trying to see under what circumstances.
You're not there. You don't know what the child did.
Things,
Okay,
I trust my
help
kids.
life. You trust your. Nobody said you should not trust your kids. You don't
you
know
bros,
what they did.
It's not about trusting.
It's not about
my
trusting
kids.
your kids.
Kids misbehave.
Yes,
Kids
That's
are
what
meant to
tendency
be guarded.
do
You're
that.
supposed
That's why
to
we
guard
are
kids.
adults.
We're
Yep.
supposed to guard them. But
Adults
if
misbehave.
if my understanding is, oh, this child deserves to be spanked for this.
Maybe,
for
maybe,
doing
maybe
this.
you have abusive tendencies.
Thank God.
maybe you have,
for
maybe you
doing
have
this.
abusive
And-
tendencies.
Okay, now I'm in your house
Uh-huh.
as your sister-in-law, and okay, what I will do is, I want to spank your child for doing this, and I feel like that's the consequence, for doing that. And maybe I didn't know that. Okay, Aki doesn't like this, but my point is that boundary needs to be set.
So here's
How do you pass
this
that
is, this is
across
how
to your
this,
sister-in-law?
this is how I set that boundary. And in all seriousness, right? Again, it goes back to it takes a village. If I cannot trust you around my kid, I won't bring my kid around you. So which means if you spank my child, I know it's justifiable.
Okay.
That's just all I wanted you to say. But
I
you
know
now
it's-
saying
I know
what?
it's
Yeah, that's what I
justifiable.
wanted you to say.
But
Yeah.
random people, nah.
That's what I
All
wanted.
right,
That's
so-
actually
I
what
just
I
see my
wanted
child
to
in the
say, yeah.
street like
So,
in church.
Viewers, take your points from that. Again, those are our opinions, those are our views. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to having your parents-in-law or your brother or sister-in-law inform you before visiting. Who is for that?
Inform.
Inform, like,
And then
I'm
give you
coming to your
notice.
house.
Inform me.
Notify you before coming to you, before
No,
visiting you.
You as a couple, not you as an
You tell your child related information to me.
That's what I'm saying. That
Okay,
as a
what if
couple-
they just
They just show up.
show up?
That's
Like,
fine.
okay, it's fine with
If you
you.
stay in the night, don't just show up.
Eh?
If you're visiting, I'm just saying, like, if you're staying the night, you just cannot. I mean, we live in America. I mean, let's keep it real now. Like, if you're staying the night, you just cannot show up because that means, I mean, you packed baggage, you enter car, you drove to come and stay the night, and you didn't tell your own child that you're staying the night.
Okay, what if they just show up? What
Then
would you do?
they're not staying the night. If they just show up to visit, then they can
I
show
won't,
up and visit.
for me, if they just show up to to visit me and didn't call me, I'll have them stay, but I'll let them know like next time you have
Thank
to
you,
call. But
Justice.
they definitely
Thank you.
definitely
You
they
can't
go
drop
for-
them away.
Conversation is not with me; it's with their child.
Yeah, you and your wife will talk about it, but the thing is, you cannot. I don't think you can stop them from passing the
So
night.
to me, I think this is where wisdom comes in.
Yeah.
Where the wife goes, you know what, they told me, I forgot to
forgot
mention
to.
it. It's easier for me to forgive my wife rather than think somebody's undermining my own household and just showing up.
Okay, so we're all now okay with anybody just showing up.
This guy show up.
Yeah. Yes, just showing up, just without informing me. Like you're just coming to my house.
If you're just
without
going to
informing me.
visit for the day, yeah, you can show up. I don't care about that. But once you're sleeping,
And you're just saying it like you don't care about that. Because showing up for the day sometimes might be uncomfortable.
very, very.
It can be uncomfortable sometimes.
I guess because I'm the male.
You have to
like,
let us know.
I'm not the one going in the kitchen to cook for you. I'm not the one, you see what I'm saying? So maybe that's why I'm like, yeah, if you
It's
show up,
not
yeah,
even
that's
about
fine.
cooking. It's about maybe you have plans for that
That day.
Oh,
that
my-
day,
my plan
and you're
goes
just
on.
showing up.
My plan goes on. Anybody that
Yeah,
shows
okay,
up to
okay,
my
okay, I
house,
think
my
it
plan
has
Can
goes
we
on.
more
have
to do
Vika?
with
Can we
courtesy.
have Vika?
Now,
Is he still
courtesy
here?
demands you inform whoever you're going to see before you go see them. But we know that we are Africans. Let's not say because we are in America
Uh-huh.
that these things does not happen. Now,
Sure.
your mother
I
is
guess I've
in
been
town.
here- I've been here
Hold
too
on,
long.
Akin, your mother is in
Maybe you've
town.
been here too long.
I think I've
All
just been here
these
too long.
Americans.
Your mother is in town. Maybe the mother has a dead battery. Maybe she could not put a call out. Maybe something just happened. I'm close to my son's house. I'm going.
Or maybe she was
Or
had
she
the
was
intention
stuck
of going
somewhere and
else.
exactly, and your house
And
is close
she's
by.
like, okay, let me just pass the night with you.
Yeah.
Is that
And she
understandable?
couldn't call you, or there was no means of her getting through to you.
Like those are you guys are coming up with like
No, we are just giving you the
exceptions.
different scenarios that can
I'm answering
happen.
my question based on generality. Generality is the fact that they just show up. Right? What you're saying is, oh yeah, of course, if something happens and they need
Yinka,
to
are you
pass
still
the
there?
night and they didn't tell us, that's a different case. Like I don't have a problem with that. No, I think we lost him. I don't have a problem with passing the night under special circumstances. I'm human. fine. But they just rolling like, yo, we're here.
Justice, you should answer now. You know how we go with it. But the matter we just carry the bag.
I mean,
and
yes,
just
you know,
Yeah.
it's different. It's I wouldn't say no, but it's pretty much something. If I have to complain, I'll complain about it the next morning. But because the culture I came from, like you said, they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
Regardless.
They're gonna
I
show
didn't-
up.
I didn't- I didn't- I
from
didn't
our
come-
culture.
I didn't come from the culture where they just show up. And we're guys, and that can be undermined.
You are.
No, it's speaking from his
For a guy
perspective.
though,
It's
You're
for a
American,
guy though, it
It's
can,
possible.
even Nigerian, for a guy, it can be undermining. And look, again, my parents' generation where there was no cell phone, there was, all those things didn't exist. Did it happen a lot? Yes. Cousins showed up, in-laws
Yeah.
showed up. But in today's time, like, come on.
I mean, still, like, I understand today's
Can we
time.
get you come back, please?
Even with today's time, to me, like, that's how I grew up, man. I don't feel
Oh
like,
no, okay.
No.
You, in as much as
They're gonna show
no, as much as we like it or don't like it, the way we grew up shaped us.
of course.
Oh, yeah.
The way
Exactly.
he grew
That's
up
the way
shapes
you
him.
grew up.
Yeah.
And
And the
it's-
way
it's
There's a
sounding
lot of
strange to
boundaries
you.
the way I grew up. A lot. There were
Oh,
thick,
exactly.
Thick boundaries, yes.
Exactly. So that's why you are kind of like that, which is understandable. Like you know the way we used to gather in
Oh, yeah.
Yabowo
Like,
and
we-
you know.
we-
I mean, we gathered,
Yeah,
like Christmas,
and we
my house
enjoy
was
it,
Yeah,
we
we
like
spend our
it,
Christmas,
Christmas, my house was packed,
and
New
the
Year's,
uncles
my
are
house was
out, we are
packed.
going to the uncles' house. Yeah,
You
so-
know, but none of those things just happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about nurturing our kids again. So how do you now? This is not about yes or no. So how do you set boundaries when it comes to your parents-in-laws? You know, helping you to nurture your kids. Like,
I already answered that question. It's
No,
my,
let-
it's my
let me know.
significant's responsibility to set those boundaries with our side of the family, and I'll set it on my side.
okay, so what happens in this case when you have a boundary with your kids? Like, okay, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, and your kids are like, no, grandma lets us do that. Why would you stop us from doing that? But
When they
that
go to
actually
grandma,
gets
it's a
at
different
you.
thing when they come
Yes.
back.
I mean, we know grandmas spoil kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that.
Grandparents,
You know,
generally.
Yeah, we know grandparents,
So-
they spoil kids.
So do you think you need to set boundaries when it
With
gets
them.
with them on that?
I think it depends on the intensity of what's in question. Like if it's no big deal, like, oh, grandma let us stay up to 10 o'clock, okay, whatever. You see what I'm saying? But grandma lets me twerk and shake my bum bum. Okay, grandma, let's have a conversation. I think it just depends on how
The gravity.
the gravity of what's in question. You know, so
That's it for me too. I feel.
How about you, Odu?
Well, again, using myself and my mother as an example, my mother, you will not go and tell my mother that I don't do this to my child. Are you like what? Because like our own takes a village is literal.
Yeah.
That's what I'll just say. Our own, it takes a village. It's literal. And like I said, we trust each other to a certain extent. Shola will not do
And
this
she's
to
not
my
meaning
child.
any harm.
Exactly.